That wild fishing experience, it's too terrifying to think back on. My good friends Wang, Aji, and I agreed to go wild fishing together. The car drove on the road for a few hours, the surroundings getting more remote as we went. Finally, the concrete road disappeared, leaving only a pothole-filled dirt road, with wild grass on both sides. Aji, what kind of place is this you found? Wang, holding the steering wheel, couldn't help but complain. I'm telling you guys, this place definitely has good stuff. Aji sat in the back seat, his tone filled with pride. It took me a long time to find it. I don't even tell normal people. You said there was good stuff last time too, and as a result, the three of us fished all night and only caught a few small crucian carp. This time is different. Look at this road. The more remote the place, the fewer people have been there. The fewer people who have been there, the bigger the fish. I didn't speak. I turned my head to look out the car window. Outside were barren mountains as far as the eye could see, not even a village in sight. After driving for another 10 minutes or so, the dirt road came to an end. In front of us was a mixed forest, the tree trunks crooked and twisted. The woods weren't dense, but the car definitely couldn't go in. We're here, it's right here. Get out of the car. The three of us got out of the car and took a look at the surrounding environment. If Aji hadn't led the way, we never would have found this place. Wang was a bit apprehensive. Does this place even have cell signal? I pulled out my phone and took a look. The phone screen showed there were still 2 bars of signal. It's okay, barely usable. Just as I finished speaking, Aji was already walking into the woods with his bag on his back. Follow me closely. Don't wander off. This forest doesn't look big, but there are many forks inside. If you take the wrong path, you'll take a long detour. The two of us followed behind, walking forward along a trodden dirt path. How much further? Wang was getting a little impatient. We'll be there once we cross this forest. About 10 minutes. After walking for a while, Wang suddenly stopped. What's wrong? I turned back to look at him. I think I left my phone in the car. You and your brain. You guys go first, I'll go back and get it. In case we need to change plans, it'll be a problem if you can't find me. After he said that, he prepared to go back to get his phone. Aji instructed, just follow this small path all the way in, and you'll find us. Don't wander off. Wang nodded and turned around to head back. Aji and I continued moving forward. The woods were deeper than I thought. We walked for almost 10 minutes and still hadn't arrived, the path getting narrower and narrower. Are you sure this is the right way? I'm sure I've walked it twice already. It's just ahead. After walking for another 5 minutes or so, it suddenly lit up in front of us. What caught our eyes was a pond. The water surface was as calm as a mirror. There were a few old willow trees by the shore, their branches hanging over the water. The scenery looked quite nice. We're finally here. I put down my fishing gear. Not bad, right? Aji said, as he was almost done setting up his fishing rod. I'm telling you, there are a lot of big catches in here. Last time I came alone to scout the location, I saw with my own eyes a carp of at least 5 catties make a huge splash. I didn't reply. I took a look at the surrounding scenery and felt very comfortable. It was indeed a good place to relax. Why isn't Wang here yet? He should be here soon. It's a straight path, shouldn't be a problem. He's been gone for a while. Aji didn't think much of it. Just like that, the two of us fished here for a good while. I stared at the bobber for quite a while, but there was no movement. I began to doubt if there were actually fish here. Just as I was bored out of my mind, out of the corner of my eye, I caught something on the water's surface. Right there, less than 2 meters from the shore, was a fish, slowly wagging its tail. It wasn't an ordinary size. I figured it had to be over half a meter long. It swam very slowly, just a gentle flick of its tail and it would move forward a bit. Aji, I called out in a low voice. He followed my gaze, and his eyes instantly lit up. He bounced up from his chair. There's a big fish. Without a second word, he bent down, grabbed the landing net, and hunched over as he walked towards the water. Don't go into the water, I yelled at him. That fish was still taking its time, swimming around in the shallow water. It was making me itch. After fishing for so many years, I had never seen such a big fish strolling by the shore, as if waiting to be caught. I hesitated for less than 2 seconds, then also picked up my landing net and followed him. The water near the shore wasn't deep. Where we stepped was a sandy, rocky bottom, not slippery, quite stable to walk on. Aji was walking in front of me, his landing net already extended. The fish was less than a meter in front of him. Just a little further forward and we'll get it, Aji whispered. We took a few more steps forward, the water reaching our calves. The fish darted forward a bit, neither too much nor too little, just out of reach of the landing net. It went that way. I pointed in a direction. Aji turned sideways, changing the angle of his landing net. The fish slowly swam another couple of strokes, still at that same distance, as if it was playing with us. Just like that, it swam a bit, and we would move forward a bit. We reached for it for ages, the landing net falling just short every time. The fish wouldn't swim far away either, always lingering just a short distance away. You flank from the left, I'll go from the right. I detoured a couple of steps, the water splashing loudly. The fish swam forward another section. I chased after it for 2 more steps. The water was already above my knees. I took a look forward. It didn't feel very deep, but I already didn't plan on going any further. Don't go any further. I turned my head to look at Aji. I'm about to catch it. Aji was a bit reluctant. He looked ahead. At some point, the fish had disappeared. The water surface was perfectly smooth, there was nothing there. A breeze blew by, creating a layer of fine ripples on the water. Stop staying in the water, get back to the shore quickly. We both turned around to head back. For some reason, the way back felt really far. Aji and I walked for a good while before reaching the shore. I plopped down on the ground, panting heavily from exhaustion. This fish was too sneaky, couldn't catch it at all. Aji also sat down, throwing the landing net aside, gasping for air. I told you we shouldn't have gone into the water. Wasn't it just so big? I couldn't resist for a moment. Aji still felt it was a pity. I didn't continue the conversation, and looked around. Why hasn't Wang come over yet? I don't know, could he have taken the wrong path? Can't you just follow the small path to get here? Yeah, there's only that one road, he shouldn't have gone wrong. I felt a bit uneasy. I took out my phone and dialed Wang's number. It rang a few times, and Wang finally answered the phone. Why aren't you here yet? I'll be there soon. Just a short walk further and I'll see you guys. Wang's voice sounded quite normal. I hung up the phone. Aji had already closed his eyes. I also lay down. After tossing about in the water just now, my body felt very exhausted. The sunlight shone on my face, and I fell asleep in no time. I don't know how much time passed. I groggily opened my eyes. It was still daylight, but I felt something was weird. Aji was still lying beside me, sleeping deeply. I stood up and looked around, and then I froze. I didn't know when Wang had arrived. He was standing next to that big rock in front, facing the pond. Wang, what are you standing there for? I shouted. It was as if he hadn't heard me. He stood there completely motionless. When did you get here? You didn't even make a sound. He was like a wooden post, with absolutely no reaction. I was a bit puzzled. I walked forward a few steps and shouted again. He slowly turned his head. That face was indeed Wang's, but the expression was wrong. His eyes were open, but empty inside, as if he wasn't looking at anything. Are you okay? He didn't react. I glanced at Aji, just preparing to wake him up. Wang suddenly started walking into the lake. He had no expression, his eyes were hollow. The water submerged his shoes, but he seemed completely unaware. Wang, what are you doing? I didn't have time to think. I hurried to chase after him and grabbed his arm. His strength was strangely huge. When I pulled him, it felt like pulling a wall. At this time, the water had already submerged his calves. I held on to him tightly. Wake up! What the hell is wrong with you? Seeing us getting further and further from the shore, I was very anxious. Just at this moment, a loud shout suddenly came from behind. Brother Lu! Aji! What are you two doing? That voice was too familiar. It was Wang's voice. I whipped my head around. A person was standing on the shore. It was also Wang. His face was full of terror, seemingly terrified by the scene in front of him. My brain buzzed. The Wang on the shore seemed real, so who is this in front of me? I violently turned my head, looking forward. There was nothing in front of me. What's going on? Wasn't it Wang just now? My gaze shifted to the side. Aji, I didn't know when, was standing there. He was still holding the fishing net in his hand, looking at me with a bewildered face. The water was already almost up to our necks. I looked back at the shore. Wang was standing there, his face deathly pale, staring intently at the two of us. What are you doing? Get up here immediately, he roared. Being roared at like this by him, Aji and I completely snapped out of it. Without time to overthink, we both turned around and headed for the shore. I don't know what happened, my body felt hollowed out. It took a massive amount of effort to return to the shore. Aji and I panted for a good while before we recovered. Wang stood 2 steps away, looking terrible. What was wrong with you guys just now? I came over and saw you two holding the landing net and walking into the water. The water was almost up to your chests, and you didn't respond when I called. Aji and I exchanged a look. I just saw you walking into the lake. Wang was stunned for a moment. You were standing by that rock, and then walked into the lake. I went to pull you, and when I turned around, I found Aji was beside me. He turned his head to look at Aji. Did you see me too? Aji swallowed hard. I saw it too, saw you walking into the water, so I wanted to go pull you. He looked somewhat shocked. Absolutely impossible. I just got here. What you saw definitely wasn't me. A chill ran down my spine. You just got here? I asked again. Wang nodded with certainty. When I walked over, from far away I saw you two standing in the water, holding up the landing net, walking step by step into the deep end. I shouted a few times, but you didn't even turn your heads. I broke out in a cold sweat. How was this possible? Then who was it we saw just now? His expression changed. Could it be we had been in the water the whole time and never came up? I called you, didn't you say you'd be here very soon? I didn't get a call from you. Impossible, I clearly called. And you even answered. I pulled out my phone and scrolled through it for a long time. I froze there. In the phone's call history, there was absolutely no record of me calling Wang. When I just got to the car and retrieved my phone, as I was preparing to come over, I received a call from the company saying the proposal needed to be revised. I handled it in the car for half the day before coming over. Then who answered my call? No one answered. The wind blew across the lake's surface, ripples spreading out circle by circle, then slowly disappearing. That fish, I didn't know when, had appeared again, right there, not far from the shore, slowly wagging its tail. This time we all resisted the temptation and didn't step forward. We immediately decided to end this wild fishing trip. We quickly packed up our things and hurried back. By the time we got to where the car was parked, the sky had already started to darken. On the way back, the three of us were still in shock and didn't talk much. After that, we never went to remote places for wild fishing again.